On date of most recent attack, the Ukrainian capital of Kyiv was once again the target of a Russian missile attack. This attack is part of a series of ongoing assaults that have plagued the city and its residents for months, causing widespread fear and uncertainty. This time, however, the attack marked a significant escalation in the conflict. The use of more advanced and destructive weaponry signifies a troubling shift in tactics, raising the stakes and the potential for greater devastation.
Russia, according to Ukrainian and U.S. officials, utilized hypersonic missiles, representing a concerning development in the ongoing war. Hypersonic missiles are known for their incredible speed and maneuverability, making them difficult to intercept and increasing their potential for causing significant damage. Despite the advanced weaponry employed, initial reports indicate no casualties from the attack. This fortunate outcome does not diminish the severity of the situation, as the potential for future casualties remains high.
The attack, while lacking confirmed casualties, has sent shockwaves through the international community. Governments and organizations around the world have expressed their has sent shockwaves through the international community. Governments and organizations around the world have expressed their alarm and concern over the use of such advanced weaponry in a conflict that has already caused so much suffering. The use of such advanced weaponry in a conflict that has already caused widespread destruction and displacement has sparked widespread condemnation. Leaders from various nations have called for immediate action to address this escalation and prevent further harm, and raised serious concerns about the potential for further escalation. The introduction of hypersonic missiles into the conflict could lead to a dangerous arms race, with both sides seeking to develop and deploy even more advanced and destructive weapons.
The attack on Kyiv is a stark reminder of the human cost of this conflict. Each missile strike, each explosion, leaves a lasting impact on the lives of those who live through it, creating a cycle of fear and trauma that is difficult to break. While there may have been no casualties in this specific instance, the psychological impact on the civilian population is undeniable. The constant threat of attack, the uncertainty of safety, and the disruption of daily life take a heavy toll on the mental health and well-being of the people. The constant threat of attack, particularly with such devastating weapons, weighs heavily on the minds of Ukrainians. The fear of the unknown, the anxiety of potential future attacks, and the stress of living in a war zone create an environment of perpetual tension and distress.
This latest development underscores the urgent need for a peaceful resolution to the conflict. The longer the fighting continues, the greater the risk of further escalation, and the more difficult it becomes to achieve lasting peace. The international community must continue to pursue all diplomatic avenues to bring an end to the violence and alleviate the suffering of the Ukrainian people. Efforts must be intensified to find a solution that addresses the root causes of the conflict and paves the way for a sustainable and just peace.
The use of hypersonic missiles in this conflict is a dangerous precedent. It signals a willingness to employ increasingly destructive technologies, which could have far-reaching consequences for global security and stability, and a grim reminder of the stakes involved. The world must take heed of this development and work collectively to prevent further escalation, protect civilian lives, and promote peace and stability in the region. Hypersonic missiles, the weapons at the center of this recent attack, represent a significant leap in military technology. These advanced weapons are not just faster, but also more agile, making them a formidable addition to any nation's arsenal. These missiles, capable of traveling at speeds exceeding Mach 5, pose a unique challenge to traditional defense systems. Unlike conventional missiles, hypersonic missiles can change their trajectory mid-flight, making them unpredictable and harder to counter. Their speed and maneuverability make them incredibly difficult to detect and intercept, potentially shifting the balance of power in military confrontations. Traditional radar systems struggle to track these fast-moving objects, and existing missile defense systems are often too slow to respond effectively.
The development and deployment of hypersonic missiles have sparked a new arms race among global powers. Nations are now in a race to not only develop these weapons, but also to create countermeasures that can neutralize them. Countries like Russia, China, and the United States are investing heavily in this technology, seeking a strategic advantage on the world stage. Research facilities are working around the clock to push the boundaries of what is possible, aiming to outpace their rivals. This pursuit of hypersonic dominance raises concerns about the potential for miscalculation and escalation. particularly in already tense geopolitical environments. Political leaders are increasingly worried that the rapid development of these weapons could lead to unintended consequences.
The use of hypersonic missiles in Ukraine marks the first known instance of these weapons being deployed in an active conflict. This event has demonstrated the devastating potential of hypersonic technology in real-world scenarios. This development has sent ripples through the defense establishments of nations worldwide, forcing a reassessment of military doctrines and defense strategies. Defense officials are now tasked with developing new tactics and technologies to counter this emerging threat.
The age of hypersonic warfare, long a topic of theoretical discussion, has now become a stark reality. Military experts are now faced with the challenge of adapting to this new era of warfare. The emergence of hypersonic weapons presents a significant challenge to international security. Experts warn that the rapid proliferation of these weapons could destabilize global security frameworks. The international community must work together to establish norms and treaties that regulate the development and deployment of these weapons. Diplomatic efforts are crucial to prevent an uncontrolled arms race. Failure to do so could lead to a destabilizing arms race, increasing the risk of miscalculation and potentially catastrophic conflict. The stakes are high, and the world must act swiftly to ensure a stable and secure future.
To fully grasp the implications of this attack, it's essential to understand the historical and geopolitical context of the Russia-Ukraine relationship. This conflict is not just a recent development, but has deep roots that go back many decades, if not centuries. These two nations share deep cultural and historical ties, but their relationship has been fraught with tension and conflict, particularly since the collapse of the Soviet Union. The dissolution of the Soviet Union in 1991 was a pivotal moment that reshaped the political landscape of Eastern Europe.
Ukraine, once a part of the Soviet Union, declared its independence in 1991. This declaration was a significant step towards self-determination and sovereignty for Ukraine, but it also set the stage for future conflicts with Russia. This event, while momentous, marked the beginning of a complex and often tumultuous relationship with Russia. The early years of Ukraine's independence were marked by efforts to establish a distinct national identity, separate from Russian influence. The presence of a significant Russian-speaking population within Ukraine, particularly in the eastern regions, became a point of contention. This demographic factor has been exploited by Russia to justify its interventions and support for separatist movements.
The annexation of Crimea by Russia in 2014, followed by the outbreak of conflict in eastern Ukraine, marked a turning point in relations. This aggressive move by Russia was widely condemned by the international community and led to a series of economic sanctions. Russia's support for separatist movements in the Donbas region further inflamed tensions, leading to international condemnation and sanctions against Moscow. The conflict in Donbas has resulted in significant loss of life and displacement of people, creating a humanitarian crisis.
The current conflict, stemming from Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in 2022, represents a significant escalation of this long-simmering conflict. This invasion has brought widespread destruction and has drawn in international actors, complicating the situation further. The use of hypersonic missiles in this context is a dangerous development, raising the stakes of the conflict and further complicating the search for a peaceful resolution. These advanced weapon systems have the potential to cause unprecedented damage and make diplomatic efforts even more challenging. The international community has responded with a mix of sanctions, diplomatic efforts, and military aid to Ukraine. These measures aim to pressure Russia into ceasing its aggressive actions and to support Ukraine in defending its sovereignty. Meanwhile, the humanitarian crisis continues to worsen, with millions of Ukrainians displaced and in need of urgent assistance. International aid organizations are working tirelessly to provide relief, but the scale of the crisis is immense. the future of the Russia-Ukraine conflict remains uncertain. Peace talks have been attempted, but have yet to yield a lasting resolution. The path to peace will require significant compromises and a commitment to dialogue from all parties involved.